the Love coming to you live and in living color. I hope that you're having a great day, and I hope that you're finding some livelihood, finding some fun into your life. We oftentimes, especially women, oftentimes we will put ourselves on the back burner and just say, well, no, if I take care of myself, I'm not taking care of somebody else. You have to realize no is a complete sentence, and you don't have to do and be everything to everybody. You have to be true to yourself. You have to be able to know when to discern, when to let it go, when to say, oh, give you that old snidely whiplash. Google it. Oh, that snidely whiplash, mustache. And you say, I might can even do this. Just jump in. Most of us are so afraid to take a chance, to take a moment to say, oh, I want to do this for me. And we've been going through HE double hockey sticks, not just here in the United States, but around the world. And it's like you think you can hold on, but you can't hold on, but you can. And oftentimes there are opportunities out there for you to go to the next step. And go to the next phase, and that you can actually have a vision. And it's not just surviving; it's thriving. And we'll get tangled up in everything, and then we realize, wait a minute. What, not 50? Wait a minute, hold up. How old am I? And you just lose track of the time because it will go by so fast. Whoever said you want to watch time fly, watch a child grow up. And one day they're just itty bitty babies that, they got the whole world ahead of them. And, for me, I didn't get the mother handbook, and so I was just teetling. Does that word teetling? Toiling along and getting my information from wherever I could get it from. And I was so grateful that the people in my life growing up, yes, I was not born grown people. And so there were people that were encouraging me. There were people who would say to me, you can do this. And there were also, where you can relate to this term now, and this time, there were also haters. Because people don't want to see other people succeed. I shouldn't say people don't. Some people don't want, and oftentimes it could be right in your inner circle, right here, and you got to jump out and do it. And nobody ever said it was going to be easy. It can be done. And that's what we have to focus on. Where can we go? Who can we talk to? How do I even find out what my purpose is? I got one for you. This is what your purpose is. When you get that feeling way down here in your gut, like right here and everything, and you're like, ooh, and every time you get to the point of saying, oh, I can do this. I can do this. And you go, oh, no, that's not important. If I do that, am I being selfish? No, that's the first thing. As long as you're doing something, as long as you're doing something that's going to be for the betterment of you, your family, your community, your neighborhood, your places of worship, your educational systems. Okay, that's a whole nother week of shows right there. And you say, I want to do this. I want to do this. I'm just going to step out. We step out on faith. We're just going to step out on faith. And for those of you who read the Bible, the King James Version, in the book of Hebrews, it says, just believe when you don't see. Believe when you don't hear. And then when you got that relationship with the higher power, with the universe's energy, you're going to hear the right words. You're going to hear the right connotation of those words. And it's going to seem like way ginormous. It's going to be so big. You're like, okay, I cannot do this by myself. That's when you know it's time to go to get some help. It's always, I would, and if I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know. If I have never seen it before, I'm going to tell you I haven't seen it. What I will say in my I don't know, and I don't know what that's about, let's join our arms and learn together. I've learned a lot of things about myself and about people. Just, being able to talk to you. People have so many visions and so many dreams, and they really don't, especially our young people. from kindergarten through college, actually now, and through your work job, and for your life. We're all gonna go through some kind of trauma, some kind of not understanding what the situation is, and oftentimes not understanding what your mission is. So we're all here on a mission. All of us. You might have found your mission and you have, jumped in it wholeheartedly, and you knew what you needed to do, and you knew where to go to get the help. Because sometimes people could just be so, dare I say, boneheaded about running a business, about starting whatever it is that that you have that feeling for you in your tummy, and then you get your hands start shaking because you start thinking, oh, that's just too much. I won't be able to do that. Well, what about my, okay, yeah, and what about it? Okay, you sit up and you worry all day, all night long. Okay, what are you going to do about that worry? Because you can't serve God and worry too. So you got to pick a side. You got to pick one side. You don't get to straddle the fence. You got to pick a side. And picking that side, and you feel it in your gut, you feel it in your heart, you feel it in your spirit, and this is what I'm supposed to do. And oftentimes you might, say the what you want to do, it might feel like it's about this big, but then when you walk it through and you talk to people, and you talk to people who are smarter than you, that's just my process. I want to be the dumbest one in the room. I could be like Denzel Washington's character said in Philadelphia, tell it to me like I'm 6. And that's what I want to know. And you could break it down to me, and you get this little piece, and you 6, and then you find out you're now 12, and then you're 17, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And oftentimes, like me, I was running from it. I was running as fast as I could run on my chunky ankles. And when it's about your assignment and it's about your mission, you're going to find a way. The universe will find a way. The world will find a way. When you know where you want to go. Yeah, I know. It can get very, very scary out there. That's my Elmer Fudd voice. And you step into it anyway. And you perk up and you say, I'm going to go and ask somebody for help. I want to ask somebody to guide me. I want to know the ones who are in front of me. Can you just turn around, like give me you don't even have to turn all the way around, but maybe I just get the side hug, like over here, right, and just let me know. And, I don't have a problem. Well, listen, I'd have been checked probably more than the check cashing companies, because, and I give them credit because they'll say, well, she's right. She got that on the money. That's what you do. That's what, we live in this, it's not even politically correct anymore. And so you pretty much, the mainstay was, you go to school, you graduate from high school, you go to college, you graduate from from college, you go out there in the world, you find your mate, your mate finds you, you get married, y'all do the thing, you have babies, for the revolution, and then you realize, what was my part? When did I get because fellas, and y'all can say whatever you want, but who's gonna clean up this crap show that you all put out there? We got to worry about. We can't even wear our POTUS through our punks because there's so much crap to walk through, and that's us. We're gonna be the ones to save us. We're always the one that saves us. We always got to come, make sure that you're all right, to make sure you're on the right path. And oftentimes you don't even know that you're on the right path. You also don't know that you're not on the right path, and that you are, and you want to, well, maybe I want to do that, but I don't really know if I want to do that. That's going to take so much work. I'm sure that you've seen the commercials on television and on your wait a minute. Oh, that's not him. Okay. I'm just waiting. So, where was I? I have to regroup every now and then. And I was saying that there were people who helped me along the way. There's no way in the world I could have done any of this by myself. It was like a shock to me. And I was like, okay. And one of my aunts used to say this to me all the time. I thought she was like, kind of nutty, because it's a lot of kind of nutty people in my family. Okay. And she would always say to me, you're gonna be an evangelist. I was like, I didn't even know what that meant. We watched Reverend, what was his name? Reverend Fuller on this is way before they had church. That's like it is now. And we would see them, was his name Reverend Fuller? Oh no, that was my pastor that baptized me. It'll come back to me. But anyway, when all of that, all of those people that walked me through, carried me through, drugged me. Yes, I've been drugged. And I'm not talking about drugged. I mean, literally, this woman had me wrap my arms around her chest, and I was behind her, and I said, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I kept saying, I can't do it. Then I started crying, and she was like, you could do this. You could do this, ML. You can do this. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And she said, I'm going in with you. Come on, hold on to me. See, and you got to know where the love comes from. And she didn't have to do that for me. She didn't have to say anything to me. She could have been just looking at me, looking crazy, like, I gave me a real ugly face. And her kindness and her generosity, I mean, she knew I needed to go do that, and I wasn't going to do it. And I said, okay, this is okay. This is too much for me. And we had taken the tour, and our guided tour. Oh, he was very learned about everything about the island, about just everything. And it was wonderful. And I said, and I really didn't want to go in there after that, because I could just, in my head, you know how we get crazy and fear can just, latch on to you like that. That's why we need each other. That's why we got to work together. That's why we need to hold on to each other and give each other strength and encouragement. It's so important. Jackie, wherever you are, you know which Jackie I'm talking about. I'm putting your name out there. She wrapped her arms. She had me wrap around her arms, and she held onto my wrist, because I was like, and she literally drugged me into the small. It wasn't even you couldn't even call it a room, because you walked in and you could look right out into the ocean, and you could see where the slave ships would back up to the doorway, and you could see where the slaves that they were transporting during the transatlantic slave trade, where they got on a ship and they went through a doorway. And it was like real tiny. I mean, it was like a really tiny space, and it had high ceilings, which I couldn't understand. Once they ceiling, it had high stones and rocks all the way up, and it was the women and babies' quarters where they were going to ship them off in the next ship, and they have a doorway. It's called the doorway of no return. The doorway of no return. Imagine having everything that you thought about, everything you worked for, everything you thought you could do. Imagine that all of that's taken away from you through no fault of your own. All that's taken away from you. Your children are taken away from you. Your husbands, your wives, being taken away to a place, and they get on. Now, mind you, y'all could look it up. You to see the slave chains, and they had a slave. I don't know what you call it. It was just like slave handcuffs, but it was around your neck. And one guy would have the big metal thing around his neck, and they would hatch, and they have 4 hooks, so that you get 5. So they put the one slave on the front, on the left, on the right, and 2 in the back, on the left or the right, and it was like. This is how they got on. They had and they figured out a way. I say to get around that, because they didn't come through the tunnel. They like walked around, and they were loaded up on I was like this, and here we are today, We're not thinking about what we can add to the world. We're always thinking about what we can tear down and what we can build up. And that's who we are. That's who we are as Americans. And that's what we do. This is a fragile experiment. When okay, all right, it's a fragile experiment. And here to make sure, oh, wait, did I lose? I lost him.
I'm here.
Hey, there you are. I was just talking about the importance of making sure you have your own peace and know where you come from and know how powerful you are. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Gary Polk. He is. I'm getting feedback. Okay. Okay. This is Mr. Gary Polk. He is the founder of the POLK Institute, and the things that you have done and continue to do in the community to teach. Well, you tell the story, Gary. We've been here. Tell them what you do, because what you do is awesome.
Well, we have the POLK Institute. We want to be something positive coming out of COVID-19. So we launched our new business, a nonprofit, in September 2020. We got our IRS nonprofit status. We provide training and technical expertise. And we target something different, because our mission and our target is a little different. Our target is underrepresented Black and brown women and veterans. And people immediately say, well, Gary, are you exclusive? And my answer is no. We serve all. That's just our target market. Our mission statement says, serving social entrepreneurs to help make the world a better place. So our mission is bigger than ethnicity. Our mission is social entrepreneurship. And then that relates directly to what's called the triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit. So that's what we're really about. We teach business owners to do it the right way.
Let me ask you this, Gary. Because you said people, planet, profit. Why do you think so many people, entrepreneurs especially, think profit is a dirty word? How do you think you're going to make money if you're afraid of that? And do you see that in your organization with your cohort sometimes?
Well, that's a great question. But if you go back to 1776, Adam Smith wrote a book called The Wealth of Nations that outlined capitalism. And capitalism, the key part of capitalism is competition. Well, what is there? We're out to make a profit. So I'm a baby boomer, you're a baby boomer. Our generation, hey, we were taught that the business of business is profit. Profit above everything. Forget people, profit. Forget the planet, profit. So that was the orientation. Profit, profit, profit. As an educator, I can tell you that in the last 25 or 30 years, in MBA school, Masters of Business Administration, we've been teaching people profit maximization. Again, putting profit at the very pinnacle or the top of why people are in business. And that is not good teaching. It does not have to be about profit maximization. It does have to go with profit. So some people hear, oh, social entrepreneurship. Well, everyone can't be a nonprofit. Well, that's a flaw. It's a fallacy. Social entrepreneurship says people, planet, and profit, meaning they coexist. We do want to make a profit, but we do want to take care of our planet. We have found that the planet is not infinite. We used to think we could throw anything we wanted to in the ocean, and it was so vast it wouldn't hurt it.
Yeah,
and
right.
That's wrong.
And there are big patches, big giant. They said that it's so much plastic in one part of one of the oceans. It's the size of Texas, and all of these toxins. And they would. We didn't actually know what manufacturers were putting into their product for the sake of profit. I mean, when you look at how Monsanto is going through all of these billion-dollar lawsuits, and they knew the pesticide that they were using was going to harm people, and their attitude was like, well, we're thinning out the herd. Wait, what? You're doing what? Thinning out the herd. And they got afraid. Only the strong survive. How do we get to be strong if we always got somebody's foot on our neck? is what I'm
Yeah,
asking. And especially being an
that's true.
entrepreneur.
But then the other part of the question was today.
Mm-hmm.
So today, the millennials and the Gen Z, they don't have to be convinced. They already understand that the planet is important. They
Mm-hmm.
already understand that people are important, both our customers and our employees. So there's an organization out there called the B Corp, the
Mm-hmm.
letter B Corporation. You go B Corp, bcorporation.net, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll find that in 2006, they were founded and they certified their first for profit company to be a social enterprise. Since then, they've certified about 8,000 companies worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting, social entrepreneurship is bigger in South America and Europe than it is in the United States.
Even with all the mayhem that's going over there, they're still
Well,
able to.
yes. Well, because down there they understand and maybe they're closer to the environment than we are. See, as Americans, especially back in the industrial age, going back to the 1920s, 1930s,
Mm-hmm.
they really just wanted to make a profit and they didn't care about what they did to the land. So there was a way to extract oil that when you pull the oil out of the ground, you shot out excess oil and water into the atmosphere. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't care about that. All they cared about was pulling that black gold, as they call it, out of the land. But in 1914, they said it was environmentally unsafe to extract oil that way, that they had to use better sources. And they found better sources. But think about this, from 1969 to 1979, Texaco extracted oil out of Ecuador and used that process that was environmentally unsafe in 1914 in Ecuador in 1969. What made it better? Because it was cheaper way to pull it out. If your cost is lower or cheaper, your profit is higher.
Mm-hmm.
And Texaco took advantage of a third world country that didn't have the technology or the knowledge about what it was doing. But here's the deal, Ecuador is a farm country. Imagine you have farmland and you're blowing excess oil and water over your farmland. You're killing your soil. You're killing your crops. But Texaco didn't care. And they interviewed the CEO, and finally he said, "We didn't do anything illegal." And the interviewer
Okay.
said, "Did you do the right thing?" "Oh, we helped the people of Ecuador. But did you do the right thing?" "Oh, the Ecuadorian government approved what we were doing." "No, sir. Did you do the right thing?" And then he finally said, "Well, we don't admit guilt, but we're giving them $50 million to clean it up." Wow.
I mean, how stupid is that? Why would you give somebody $50 million for something you claim you did not do, that your company
Exactly.
did not do? Okay, now
And
I
if
don't care how much money you got. You just don't give money away uh, for something that you that are destroying the planet with, and they don't understand that, and they don't
but it was
understand
the American business mentality.
they don't.
So America, we are literally the entrepreneurs of the world. We really are. We understand entrepreneurship better than anybody except maybe England. But I know we're ahead of them as well. But
Mhm.
my point is, we need to do business the right way. So when I started in business, I started in banking. They taught me the 5 C's of credit, and the number one most important C was character. I
Mhm.
bought into that character. At the end of the day, all we have is our word.
Mhm.
They taught us as loan officers, if your borrower has character, your chance of being repaid is greater than if they lack character.
Mm.
The other thing they taught me was relationships.
Mm. And
Relationships are all important because that's a long term existence. So I use relationships and character throughout my career, whether I was in teaching or coaching or education. or banking or insurance, everything I did, I always want to have high character and I want to be relationship oriented. And here we are today, 30 years later, after starting to teach in 1991 at Cal State Northridge with the POLK Institute. I'm blessed to be able to still teach at Cal State Dominguez Hills. I'm with the SBDC, Pacific Coast Regional, and they're part of the federal government, the SBA. So I'm an SBA consultant. I'm a
Don't be
CEO of the POLK Institute, and I'm a professor at Cal State Dominguez Hills of Entrepreneurship. And in all three places, I'm teaching the same thing, the value of social entrepreneurship and why that's so important.
talk talk to us about social entrepreneurship and what are we be looking at and places that you would think that we wouldn't even exist if we didn't know about them, and how do we become a country of social entrepreneurship so that everybody gets the story and everybody understands that the power that is within them. And who are the people? I know you recruit women and women of color, and there've been some men there that that been in the program and they benefit from it. And on top of that, tell women, just tell them the itches and the ins and out of the POLK Institute, because what you guys and what you ladies and gentlemen do is really awesome. And not just awesome, the fact that you are an expert in each of those fields, in teaching and entrepreneurship. And how can we become more socially apt at being entrepreneurs, owning our own businesses? And this another one. I know I can ask you 15 questions. How do we keep from failing? What are we missing as entrepreneurs? What are the three big mistakes that entrepreneurs make, or to get together and that they could use the training?
Okay.
Uh,
Let's focus on failure. I'm glad you brought that one up. There's no way we can stop failing, but we can learn from failure. So the key is failure is part of the business, but the question is, do we learn from that failure and then keep going? And if we can learn from our failure and keep going, then failure can actually be a good thing. There's no way you can eliminate failure. The nature of business is very dynamic. It's very hard. It's a starting a business is a failure sport because 7 out of 10 will fail.
Wait
Now,
a minute.
how
Wait a
can
minute.
we
Hold on.
how
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Gary. What did you just say? They were a failure. That was too fun. What did you just say? Because I was laughing. You said
it's a
failure is
failure sport,
a failure.
7 out of 10 will
Never,
fail.
I never would have thought that. Business is a failure sport, and seven
It
out of
is.
entrepreneurs
But
don't make
why do we do it? Because we want to be that 30% that succeeds.
it.
We want to be that 30% that finds our financial freedom and literally can become our own boss and never have to worry about being laid off again, or never have to worry about some poor manager who doesn't like us on a political level and fires us or get rid of us. Or we become 50 and all of a sudden they say, well, we can get a 30-year-old to do your job. Those are all the really harsh realities of corporate America. So we go into why failure. I would be disingenuous if I said, do the business, do everything I say, and you're going to make a lot of money. I tell people, go into business, do what I say, and you still could fail. Because I have to have that humility and that integrity to tell people you can still fail because nobody can predict the future.
Right.
It's like when I coach basketball, I would be a head coach. I'm playing a season. Oh, we have a 30-game season. We want to go 30-0. That's not realistic. Somebody's going to beat you. Something's going to happen. Okay, we're going to go 25-5, 20-10. That means we lose 10 games. Do I walk into the locker room and say, hey, you're the worst basketball team I've ever seen. You suck? No, you walk in and say, you know what? We lost today. We weren't ready. What did we learn? How do we get better? So when we play them again, we have a different outcome. So it's like sports. Nobody can predict the future. Every time the 1972 Dolphins was the last NFL team to go undefeated. Every time a team goes 15-0, 16-0, everybody said, oh, they're going to tie the Dolphins. 2018, the New England Patriots were 17-0 going into the Super Bowl. Everybody thought they were going to win. Someone forgot to tell the New York Giants. The Giants beat them. And it goes back to the difficulty of going undefeated. So right now, today, Mother Love, if someone told you, well, here's what's going to happen in 2025, you say, really? Thank you, and you walk away. Because no one knows what's going to happen in 2025.
When they talk
so
like
people
that,
have made success in one business, and now they become a venture capital investor, and they start investing in businesses. And guess what? They're only right 30% of the time. Or we could say it conversely, they're wrong 70% of the time.
and
Why? Because business is so unpredictable.
Life is unpredictable.
Exactly.
If I had known back then that I would be in a position like this to talk to such a powerful man not just in California, but around the United States, I would have been like, okay, tell me who your drug dealer is and let me get some of what you're doing. Okay, because you're talking real crazy right now. Maybe look at
that. Here's a couple real life examples. Today, I talked to a young man in his mid-30s. He wants to start a company that comes behind the rubbish people and cleans the trash cans. He lives in Boyle Heights. He says he wants to help his community because some people may not clean their trash can for a year or two. It gets empty, but that smell is there. So he doesn't know it, but he's been a social entrepreneur because he wants to have cleanliness in his community of Boyle Heights. So I want to help him get that business off the ground, show him what it takes to be successful. But it wasn't my idea, but it's a smart idea.
It's a smart idea.
One of my clients, Wedge Containers, down in Torrance. This is a guy named Sean. Sean is a really smart guy, and he worked in the aerospace industry, and they had these round drums. There were 55 gallons, and every company used them to put disposable waste. They would take a box container shaped like a box and put in a round drum. He said, that doesn't make sense. Why don't we put a round container in a round drum, and we can be more efficient and we can get rid of more waste? So he became a social entrepreneur because he wanted to be more efficient in managing waste. These are just two examples of people that want to do something for the environment. I work with another young man. He hates plastic water bottles. He wants to get rid of all the plastic water bottles. So his company makes a refillable water bottle that's made out of aluminum. So they ship the first order and they say, please don't throw our bottle away. Refill it. Whatever water you use and refill it. In this way, we get rid of plastic water bottles. Another social entrepreneur who wants to help the planet. They did research and said if we're not careful, we could have more plastic water bottles in the ocean than fish.
That doesn't make any sense. And what people need to really realize, Mother Earth will correct herself.
Yes.
All the crap that we're doing, to the planet and, not taking care of ourselves and our children. And, people when you start dying from inhaling secondhand smoke, there are things that we can do, to make us better, to make us heal better. Because you think about these two gentlemen you were just talking about, these guys are really, really helping. I see franchise coming in the city. That's a good idea because we make more trash, I believe, than anybody on the planet. I look at my,
True.
the stuff that goes through our, recycle. I got three trash cans, one for the plastic and the tin, and one for my regular trash. And I
Mm-hmm.
try to make as little as I can. And I know that we have to, understand the environment, and Mother Earth will correct herself. And you don't see how you having mass fires, and you over in Hawaii, and it just like jump over just a one island, and just the one, and just burnt the whole thing down. All the fires that we have out here, we got earthquakes. That's bad enough. Then we're going to have fires that we can stop. We need more social entrepreneurs. What would you say to the young people that are listening, that will download this program, and the importance of getting involved, even if they don't have their own business, because you teach life skills as well? What would you say to
Well,
encourage them to come to your
well,
classes?
well, my best advice is figure out what your passion is.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your passion is, if you can figure out a way to monetize, then they say you never work a day in your life.
I
In
agree
your
with
voice, I can tell that you love what you do.
I
And
love
you
what I
may be here 10 hours, but it's not like, oh, wow, I worked 10 hours. I
I've
was blessed to have
said,
the opportunity to be on
oh,
the air for 10 hours talking to people because you love people.
I do. And I have to
And now
tell
you found a way to have sponsors that will pay you
you,
for that viewership, and that's monetizing. So it's nothing wrong with making a profit. And so the whole idea behind it, if you don't love it, you're not going to make it, because when you get punched in the mouth, when you get punched in the gut, and you will, and you don't
oh,
love it, you'll tap out.
right.
But if
And
you
see,
love it, you'll shake it off and say, "Is that all you have?"
see, why you
So,
got to wait a minute? Why you got to tell my secret when they knock me down? And I told them, listen, I've been knocked off of stilettos, so don't even think I'm gonna take falling down lightly. No, you get
yes,
up, you scrape your knees off, you dust your face off. You don't let them ever see you cry. Remember they say don't the commercial, never let them see you sweat, never let them see you cry. I remember
that's
coming from
right.
an audition in Beverly Hills, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to an audition in Beverly Hills, and I went to the audition, and I nailed it. I mean, I gave them everything that they wanted. And I'm like, okay, I'll be in Beverly Hills. They literally, the casting director, and it was for a comedy network TV show. And so I went in, I killed the performance. It was great. Dude was laying on the floor, Gary. He was laughing so hard. He laughed up himself off the chair, and I kept saying, oh, it's not that funny. He said, oh no, you really are funny. But I'm gonna tell you right now,
Mm,
mother, you're not gonna get this part. And I was like, well, why you just said I nailed it? You sitting on the floor. What is up with that? And it took me a minute to wrap that around my brain because it wasn't personal. And he said, no, because the star of the show does not want anybody on the show funnier than him. And you gonna walk out on the stage and they're gonna start rolling, talking crazy, and they're gonna enjoy you. So you're not gonna get this job. And I never heard
mm,
anybody. I would rather this the one against me. We're going in another direction, and then they don't go in another direction. They do the same thing that they did. So, and that
mm,
was it. Took me. I had never been, and I had never been fired from a job. Well, I had never been fired. Yeah, I was on the job, just over broke. I had never got fired from a job till I came to California, and I said,
mm,
not a job. This is fun. So even in the, getting my butt smacked down, I'm like a weeble. Like, remember weebles, Gary? Weebles wobble,
mm,
but they don't fall down. I'm a
hmm.
weeble. And you just get up and
Okay,
sometimes
that's
that punch
right.
is that when you getting punched in the gut, your head exploding, you're like, oh, I got some even more creative ideas. Let me go
Yep.
put some stab on this bruise on my stomach, and let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. What would you
Well,
say?
so the second advice would be get some help. Some
Oh,
people say some people say money is the most important thing, or lack of access to capital. Some people will tell you, well, it's all about timing. And both of those are true factors. But I think at the end of the day, it's about getting some help, getting the right help. And I know that we can do that. We can't control a lot of things. And
right.
sometimes you have to be realistic. What can we control and what can we not control? So we say that if you're coachable, if you're willing to listen, if you're willing to work hard, then we can help you. So earlier you were talking about different industries. We look at the Polk Institute. We're agnostic when it comes to industry because we
Mm-hmm.
don't want to feature just one industry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, black people like restaurants and black people like apparel. We don't care if you're restaurant, apparel, containers, you want to be on social entrepreneurship. All we want you to be is coachable. If you're coachable, we can help anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not coachable, we can help nobody. Nobody wants to work with a narcissist who knows it all.
Oh, what?
I can see.
Why are you
I
in the
can see.
room? You know everything. You think you smarter than us? Okay, right. Okay, well, we don't think that this is the group for you, bud, because
Right.
I want to come in as a clean slate, like a little kid. I got my clean slate. I got my eraser. I got my chalkboard. I'm taking copious notes, and I
Yep.
sit there and I want to. I'm like a sponge. I want to know all the things that, well, most of the things that I don't know, and I don't know everything, but I know
That's right.
everything. I know everything else, and it's
Well, when
and
you
it's
think you know everything, you're done.
it, and see, and just when you think you got all the answers, because somebody always got
Yep.
you got all the answers, okay, and then you got all the answers, and then the questions change. How do I become
Right.
socially be a social entrepreneur? What do I need to do? Do I need to step back and see what it is? And I say this all the time. When I'm in a meeting and we're working on a project, I want to be the dumbest one in the room. And I believe I'm a pretty smart chickerini over here. And I want to learn from everybody. And we can learn. I can learn from a 6-year-old. Some 6-year-old twins checked me one day during Christmas. We was all going to be on the fire truck, on the top of the fire truck. And I said, "Hi, I'm the Christmas fairy." And we're identical twins. They said, "Those aren't fairy wings." And well, what do you mean? And they was all decked out, and the whole thing. She said, "Oh, those aren't fairy wings." And she could, got the confirmation from her twin. "Those are not fairy wings." I said, "Well, how come then? What are they then?" They went, "Butterfly wings." And I went,
Ooh.
and
Well,
I
you know
went,
what? So you have
so,
your humility in check. That's what that
oh,
means. But
they checked me big time. Don't you know? After the parade, I went to the store. I went to one of the parties are us or whatever it is, and I bought me some. I bought me some fairy wings and not butterfly
some
wings.
fairy, you
They said
learned.
that wasn't fairy wings. Them butterfly wings. I was like, what crap are they? And
That is
those are the
classic.
ones pure. I mean, those are the ones that are pure because they don't have a sense of malice in their spirit. They just speak
Right.
the truth. The one's gonna tell you the truth about
Exactly.
youngins and the old people. Now, and one of the things that you brought up, and I think is really critical, is to be able to be approachable and teachable. And for me, that's like coming in with a clean slate. I want to know from the ground up. And then when I get there and I'm able to stand up, I don't have any problem with the next generation standing on my shoulders. And I think that is a huge part of social entrepreneurship because we've almost forgotten how to be social with each other. And when we were growing up, you said you didn't even know to be good morning. They look at you like, why are you talking to me? I'm like, okay, well, okay, I
Yeah.
think I got it. And I grew up in a community where everybody spoke to each other. You respected your elders. You took their guidance. You took their training. And that's what I look at the Polk Institute and what you do. Now tell them about the program because this is my floor people. And every time I have you on the show, I'm sure that, I learn something new from you all the time. If they don't, I do. So tell them about the Polk Institute.
Well, we have a incubator program that is designed for people who have not had any revenue. So a startup, literally
Mhm.
pre-revenue. We have a 10-month training program where we introduce them the basics. And at
Mhm.
the end of the 10 months, we have them do a 5-minute, what we call go to market pitch, where they just tell people the problem they're solving, what's the solution, their target market, and what makes them unique.
Mhm.
And then we have a second year program called the Accelerator. This is where we have the advanced. Sometimes these are businesses been in business 2 or 3 years, but still don't have that business acumen. And we want to do a deeper dive into some of the things that we taught at the beginning. But if you've been in business 4 years, you may not need the basics. So you might start off in the Accelerator. So we
Oh.
have two programs, both run at the same time. So our incubator is on Thursday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We say that because we have people in New York, North
Mm-hmm.
Carolina, down south that join the POLK Institute because we do it on a remote basis.
Mm-hmm.
So our accelerator is on Tuesday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. And we have advanced entrepreneur finance where people find out about vesting and schedules and how to value a business and how to talk to someone and bring them on an equity basis as a partner.
Mm-hmm.
So what we don't believe in is the weekend boot camp. The 8 hours will teach you how to come up with a business name, how to do a real fast website, and now you're in business because it takes more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So one of our credos is you want to be an overnight success, but it may take 20 years.
Okay,
So let
wait. Let me just stop you right there for a minute. Now, see that's my mother channeling through you because she said you want she asked me. She said, "So do you want to be a celebrity or do you want to have longevity?" So I had to think about that. She said, "If you want
ooh,
to be an overnight success, it's gonna probably take you 20, 25 years." And and I to this day I don't know if and people always tell me that we love what you do, because I'm doing what I love. I'm talking like she couldn't believe I was getting paid. She said, you done con these people into paying you to run your mouth, really? And she said, you the right one for it. And when she came out here to visit me, she stayed with me for a month and got to see my life. I was like, Mama, you can stay right here with us. You don't have to get back on a train, plane, automobile, and stay. She said, good, I got to go home and tell these people how you living. That's my child. That's my mother love. I was like, oh, it's gonna be crazy. Oh my God.
mm,
And I was like,
yeah,
you never know, because I don't do this for glory. I do this for God. Because this was my
right.
assignment. Don't do it and see how jacked up your life is going to be, Missy. I'm running things over here. You just be still and know who I am. I got you, and you got this. And I'm like, okay, you know, I
Well,
don't
I've heard that if you want to make God laugh, you just tell him
know.
your plans.
See, why you gotta keep telling my mother today? That's she said, oh, you got a plan, yeah, right. Because her plan, she said, I'm gonna tell you how I know God got a plan for me. She was
Right.
in one of the first colored ladies beauty pageant way back in the day, right? Oh, and
Mm,
she was gorgeous in the day. I mean, built like you know what? I mean, she was sharp. I saw pictures and I was like, who is that? She's like, girl, that's me. I was like, well, what had happened?
wow.
She said, I got married and started having children. And that was not my
Mm,
plan. That was God's plan. And she had six of us. Six of us.
mm,
And we were
yeah.
all teenagers at the same time. So she carried a load of 38. She said, y'all too big for me to whoop. I had to pop a cap in you. That was enough fear struck in me to not, to not, I mean, when your mama traumatized you,
Mm,
you know and they oftentimes parents and guardians don't see what's in their child or in the person in their care. They don't see it, but
mm-hmm,
somebody like you do. And they'll and you pull that out in people. And I remember we had a couple of people that you guys mentor and do things with, and they really sing your praises, and they all starting uh just really important work, and to be able to get it out there. And when you say social entrepreneurship, I think I cover that part because I'm pretty sociable and I'm an entrepreneur.
mm-hmm,
That makes me
mm-hmm,
socially entrepreneur. And I do, they call it recycling. When we were growing up, you didn't throw nothing away that you could use again. You know,
mm,
they figured out how to use the coffee can, put it on the back of the oven to put the grease in. Remember
yep,
them stuff?
yep. I remember that.
And we would reinvent stuff. We had clothes that were hand me downs, and and now they call it revisiting your wardrobe. And I'm like, okay, whatever you want to call it. And more people
Yeah.
really need to become more conscious of the planet. When you talk about social entrepreneurship, what can we do? The lay people, what can we do? And what we ought to be do? What do you think we ought to be doing collectively to go to people, planet, profit? Because that can go for anybody, don't you think?
I do. And the thing is that there are companies out there that are trying to do good and in
Mhm.
their messaging. So it's a social entrepreneurship because they talk about helping others, making a positive impact. That money is important, but money is not everything.
No.
So if they're certified by the B Corporation, that means they went through a very tough assessment to get this certification. And you could go to websites, and if it's a certified B Corp, they have this label with a B on it. Investors are looking for companies now that have a social consciousness, and they're willing to invest money in the companies that have a social consciousness. So instead of doing things the old way, you want to care about your carbon footprint. Are you using materials that we can recycle, or are you using materials that are harmful to the planet? So excuse me, social entrepreneurship probably touches every facet of business in every industry at some level. But now you have some big companies like Walmart that are saying, if you want to work with us, you need to make sure that your packaging is biodegradable. So that's called a chain leader, where Walmart is part of the supply chain, but they're telling smaller companies who wants to work with them, you have to come in with product and packaging that is biodegradable. So even big companies understand this need now. Like I said, the younger people, but you might ask, what kind of policies do you have for your employees? And if they have very friendly, employee friendly policies, sometimes you have a union that will make a company give benefits or they strike. But you have some business owners out there that don't need a union to tell them, because they already know the best thing to do is give extra time off for this, or to have a longer family leave, a paternity leave. These are also social entrepreneurship mentalities that if you're only caring about profit, you said, no, you had a kid, you're back at work in 2 days. Wait, what do you mean the husband? The husband doesn't need to bond with the kid. The husband don't get time off. But now we have a different idea. So a social responsibility is really more of thinking about the bigger picture and how it impacts society. I remember asking my class, what is a social entrepreneur? And the young man said, well, that's a friendly entrepreneur. I said, no, that's clever.
That's
true story.
That's too funny.
I said, that is not right, but it's a cute story. But a social entrepreneur really cares about people and the planet and still want to make a profit. So we got to keep that in there. The profit part is, but I had a meeting with a lady from the B Corp LA. Her name is Andrea Chase. She's with another company, but her company is a certified B Corp. And she said she works with companies, and she asked them, what do you know about social entrepreneurship? And they say, well, I'm not much, but I'd like to know more. Well, that kind of opens up the door. Oh, I didn't know about that. I didn't know it could work like that. Believe it or not, we think a lot of time banks only care about a profit. I now work with a bank called Beneficial Business Bank, Beneficial State Bank, and they are a certified B Corp as a bank.
Well, let me ask you,
very few banks.
Let me ask you, what is a certified B Corp?
That means that they went to the B Corp, they went through their assessment of about 300 questions related to how do you treat the planet? How do you treat your employees? What do you do on this level, that level? Is the environment, what do you do? And based on all of these answers, they get a rating. And if they rate high enough, they get their certificate saying that they are a B corporation.
And that's for all small businesses?
Small and large.
Okay.
They can go both. But what's interesting, when you start brand new, you may not know what you're doing. You could use a B Corp assessment of asking questions. Say, you know what? I never knew about that, but I want to do that in my business. Oh, that's a great idea. I want to do that in my business. And next thing you know, you are a B Corp. There's a company in New Jersey, I believe it's New Jersey, New York. They hire people. They're a bakery. and I think it's called Greystone. They hire people recently incarcerated and do not do background checks. They will hire you with a background criminal record, and they don't care. They care about who you are today and can you be reliable as an employee today. That is a very, very ambitious HR policy, and they are a B Corp. Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream are a B Corp. Patagonia are a B Corp. So you have many companies out there, Tom Shoes, a B Corp, because they're doing things in addition to profit, they're doing things good. So if we had to sum it up, social entrepreneurs do well while being good. They do well while being good.
And that's a simple, basic plan, and everybody could do that. Everybody could do that. They take it on. So we talked about the are the cohorts in session now? Because I love them while you call them cohorts. It's like we got something, we know something.
Well, the cohort, what it means is the technical term is a cohort where you are a part of a group and you take many courses and workshops with that same group, and you just change instructors or facilitators. So we're on cohort 4 now. And so they go through the whole process, and then next year we'll have cohort 5. But in 2023, we added our legacy cohort, where now we're also working with businesses 10 years or more who want to understand how to set up a management succession plan and an exit strategy. One day, Mother Love may retire.
No.
Well, what happens to her legacy business?
What's going to happen? No, I don't know. You take that back. You take that back. I am not retiring. No.
Okay.
And let me tell you why I'm not retiring. Because people don't understand when you retire, that means you're not doing that job anymore. And retirement pretty much sucks because you're so used to working. And a lady, I was at a function, and I was like, "Oh, how don't these people understand? I've retired." And she was like, she scooted her chair over. She said, "Mother Love, let me tell you something about retirement. People don't retire. They just get to do what they want to do and work when they want to work. So that's going out the window. Because if you're not doing this, you're gonna be doing something else." And I was like, "Shut up, lady. It's not working." I don't have the privilege of retiring because when I do get so old that I can't do, I will teach. I will pass it along. I will let people know, that if I can do this, it's because of the God I trust. I am but a humble servant. I'm a broken vessel. I get to put together a spit, duct tape, and bubble gum. And this is what you do. You look real close, you could probably see the crack down the side of my face where God said something to me, like my whole face fell off. So that is what I'm saying. I am the vessel. They say, "Oh, you and your husband got a great marriage. I want to be married that long. How'd you do it?" I'm like, "We have a sense of humor and we don't take this serious." I'm like, "Really?"
Ooh, sense of humor is important, isn't it? That's true.
God. Oh, and when you got your own language, you had that bond with your mate, and they can just look at you and you know what they're thinking. I want to have that.
Yep.
I said, "You ready to put the time in?" Marriage is not for everybody, and I believe
that's
you
true.
don't get married 4 times. Like when do you stop to realize you're not good at that? One of my girlfriends, and I've asked her this multiple times, after she got on to her 3rd husband, and she done had 7 husbands. I can't keep up with her last names anymore, so I just call her by, I just call her by her name, because I call her by her maiden name. I mean, how you get 7 husbands? And she said, "Well, I'm gonna get it right." I'm like, "You should have stopped at 3." So tell people, we got 60 seconds. Tell people how they can get in touch with you if they want to become a cohort and join this organization. Oh, and tell them how much it costs. I forgot to ask. Tell them how much it costs. Tell them how much.
Our incubator and our accelerator is tuition free. We rely on banks and foundations and wealthy individuals to fund our programs. Our legacy cohort, we do charge a membership fee because the program is different, but for the innovation of the incubator and the accelerator, tuition free. And we're enjoying what we're doing. This is a passion of love. We have a lot of volunteers, but we're moving to another level. We're starting our 4th year. We've had a good year, and now we're starting to fundraise a little bit more because now we need to start paying salaries to our volunteers while we can become more sustainable.
That is
So we're
what.
already talking about what it's going to take and what we look like in 5 years.
Well, thank you very much. I always appreciate your knowledge and the fact that you are still in the game and just bringing others along. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Gary Polk,